Very good afternoon to all of you. લંચ પછી આવું જ બોલાય મને ખબર છે. પ્રકાશભાઈ જ્યારે મને કીધું કે you come here and speak to our clients, I was actually worried. Because Baroda, Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Jaipur, these are the places where audience is more knowledgeable than you. They have made more money in stock market right now than you. And you are always worried, Prakash bhai, that someone will stand up from the audience and say, Nilesh bhai, baith jao. I have made more money than you. So, to all those knowledgeable people, this is a very simple way of explaining things, and hopefully you will learn something from us. Before I go to market, I just want to ask a simple question. Do you believe in God, and do you believe that God exists? Very good. But the answer came, it's understandable. People are not convinced about God right now, and I will convince them that there is a God. And I'll also prove that God is an Indian. Till Karnataka election, we were worried about kya hoga. God said, Tathastu. Now we are talking about abki bar 400 par. इतनी अकल सिर्फ भगवान ही भारत में डाल सकता है. There is another God in the world called US Fed. Some time back they were saying rates will remain higher for longer. भगवान ने कहा तथास्तु. Now he is saying I will start cutting rates very soon. In our kundli there is only one Rahu and one Ketu, which is oil prices. Oil goes higher, India comes down. There is Israel-Hamas war raging. There is Russia-Ukraine still continuing. There is a disruption in Red Sea. And 4 million barrels of oil production has been cut between Russia and Saudi-led OPEC and non-OPEC countries. Normally, we would have priced Chintan by $150 barabar chhe na. We would have thought about triple-digit oil. Bhagwan said, don't worry, I am there. Oil is still at $75-80. Growth, we were all at 6%. Now RBI governor is saying this year will touch 8%. We do go wrong, but not by this margin. Now that can only happen because of God, not our mistake, upar wale ka. Vote on account, we were told that this will be election speech, there will be distribution of reveries and freebies. This became one of the shortest ever speech we have heard on vote on account and budget. This year we had El Nino impacting monsoon. Today our water reservoir levels are little lower than historical average. Southern India is in serious trouble. And now God said, Tathastu, this year El Nino is weakening. All this divine intervention proves that there is God and there is an Indian. હજી બી થોડું હાસ્ય નીકળ્યું, એક્સેપ્ટન્સ નથી આવી. નહીં, હું સ્લાઇડ લઈને આવ્યો છું. I'll prove it to you that there is a God and he or she is an Indian. So भगवान को भी पता है कि हम भारतीय हैं. 10 मैच खेलेंगे और फाइनल में दशहरा दिवसे આપણો ઘોડો ના દોડે. So God is doing something called Birbal ki kahani with us. All of you know Birbal's story. Akbar Raja asked Birbal to make a line bigger without touching it. and he drew a line smaller below so that the line above becomes big. God is doing that thing with us. Apna gaadi ठीक ठाक चला रहा है at 8%, but to the world it looks like 10% because everyone else are scoring self-goal. Russia was doing well, usko bola please go and attack Ukraine. Now Russia is out. South Africa गिर रहा था, God pushed him, जोर से गिर. People stopped visiting South Africa. Where is the question of putting money? Brazil had best fundamentals. God gave them communist government. Now people are worried. Our biggest competitor is China. They scored self-goal in their real estate and Taiwan. Net, our line is looking bigger because others' line are looking smaller. ये तो भगवान ही कर सकता है. हजी भी નથી convinced. Now this is the last slide, you better get convinced. All of you know the Panchtantra story of Billi and Bandar. दो बिल्ली को रोटी मिलती है. They couldn't agree how to divide. They went to a monkey and Bandar puri roti खा गया. Normally India was the Billi of Panchtantra in global stage. For example, we were getting crude oil from Iran in rupee terms. 6-month credit. That money will be kept in UCO Bank account. And I'm not talking today's UCO Bank, 10 years before UCO Bank. And that money, that rupee would have been utilized to buy things from us. इससे अच्छी रोटी भारत को कौन दे सकता था? Then the American monkey came and said, we are putting sanction on Iran. We stopped importing oil from Iran. Iran is our closest oil supplier. वहां से वो थ्रो करते थे, यहां से हम कैच करते थे, and there was no logistics cost. Now, what have we done? There is sanction on Russia. We said we will import oil from them. We have relationship with Russia. This time I am not going to give my roti to American monkey. Next, we go to America and ask them, incidentally, you also know how to manufacture engine of a jet fighter plane. Can you share that technology with us? You haven't shared that with anyone, but हमारे साथ share कर दो. The transition of India from Panchtantras Billi to Panchtantras Bandar, ये तो भगवान ही कर सकता है ना? हाँ, now all of you are convinced. From spiritual, let's come to reality. How are we today from a global economy point of view? The Fed is maintaining a very delicate balance between growth and inflation. They have done a great job. But every medicine has side effect. The medicine administered by US Fed, who is the god of market, have some side effects. The first side effect, America's interest burden is crossing crazily. It will cross $1 trillion this year. I stay with my mother because of love. And I believe my mother is not praying that कब मेरा लड़का बड़ा होगा, अपने घर में जाके रहेगा. Half the time I travel, but I still believe my mother is waiting कि बड़ौदा से लड़का घर पे आएगा. In US today, half the American kids are like me. They are staying with their parent. And it is not love. It is मजबूरी because नया घर खरीदने का पैसा नहीं है. And maybe some American parents will be like my mother, but many will be praying, कब मेरा लड़का बड़ा होके घर छोड़ के निकले. There is this uneven recovery even in mighty US. What is the problem of US? Well, They have accumulated large debt, which is this red portion. Now, if someone has to pay that debt needs to be paid from that circle. If you focus very, very hard, you will see little bit of blue color there. That is the excess of income over expenditure which they did in Bill Clinton era. From that surplus, they have to fill the down below gap. How will they do it? For us, the real challenge is whether Fed will keep rates higher or longer. Rate goes up by escalator, one step at a time, but they come down like an elevator quickly. The only challenge is that the elevator's button is in Fed's hand, but since God is an Indian, hopefully they'll start cutting rates soon. We don't really care what happens with US interest rates. What we care is whether they'll continue to invest in India or not. Now, what will foreigners choose? Sasta ya sundar? If they choose sasta or cheap, there are countries which are available at a significant discount to India. For example, Russia is 1/8 India's valuation. We trade at 25 times, they trade at 3 times. China is 1/3 of India's valuation. We are 25, they are 8. So anyone who wants sasta, they will go towards China, Russia, Turkey, Brazil. Anyone who wants sundar, they'll come to India. Because we are one market where people have made money. In China, for 30 years, people haven't made money. If you are an investor, where will you go? Sasta ya sundar? Most of us will go towards sundar. There are times when you can make money on sasta also, but you compound wealth, you create wealth by investing with sundar companies or sasta companies which will become sundar over a period of time. Now let's come to Indian economy. As I mentioned, अपना गाड़ी अच्छा चल रहा है. Where do I point? This side? This side? Okay. So earlier, we were the coach or dibba of global growth train. दुनिया चलती थी, हम चलते थे, because on an incremental basis, India used to contribute low single digit to global growth. Today, we have become engine of the global growth. हम चलेंगे, along with China and US, दुनिया चलेगी. Our contribution is now in high single digit to global growth. Are there challenges? Undoubtedly, yes. One, there is problem related to power. Our power plants are running at peak capacity. We may witness some amount of power shortages in the days to come. The consumption remains soft. Urban consumption is growing much faster than rural consumption. Premium products are growing at a faster pace than mass market. And top end of the pyramid is enjoying life far more than the bottom of the pyramid. We need to ensure that growth becomes inclusive. It reaches to every segment of India. The good news is that government is spending a lot of money on infrastructure, and hopefully that will create inclusive growth over a period of time. Can we take that God is Indian and we don't have to work? Answer is no. There is definitely divine blessings, but we have to still work. What do we have to do? One, we have to continue to reform. Our problem is that when our car comes in motion, we take the foot from the accelerator. Then car slows down. Then again we put foot on the accelerator. Against England, we started 1-0. बाद में 4-1 कर दिया. But we can never go for 5-0 attitude. We have to be पंचतंत्रस बंदर, not the बिल्ली. सबकी रोटी हमें खानी है. The elections have to be fought on economics, on work, not on how much freebies one can distribute. And the most important thing, we have to master the technology disruption which is coming. Are there companies which are doing very well on riding technological disruption? Yes, but they are today exception, not rule. We have invested in one explosive company in Nagpur. Today they are exporting explosives to Sweden, which is home of inventor of explosive, Dr. Alfred Nobel. We have invested in an auto component company in Bangalore, which has become the first company worldwide to get order from Toyota Motor Company, Japan, to make spare part for Toyota engines. No German, no Japanese, no Chinese, no American, no Korean companies have got that order. Only Indian company has got it. There is an Indian company which supplies next generation metals to Mitsubishi turbines. They are the only company in Mitsubishi vendor system to deliver that quality of metal. No German, no Japanese, no Chinese, no Korean has delivered that. There is one company in Rajkot. The promoter is not even an engineer, but it makes CNC machines which are accepted from a quality point of view by Apple to make their phones, and they are producing it at a 40% cheaper price than Chinese competitors. These are exceptions, not the rules. But this kind of companies can ensure that India continues to do well. Now when you speak like this, people say, Nilesh bhai, ये सब ज्ञान छोड़ो, ये बोलो equity market में क्या होगा? Equity market, our companies are doing well. We are growing at 15-20% compounded return in terms of profit growth for last 5 years. That's a very good growth rate, and which is why markets are also trading at current level. Large caps are trading around their historical average, neither cheap nor expensive. Small and mid caps are looking little expensive relative to their historical average. Market cap to GDP ratio is at all-time high level, 130%. But that's also because profit to GDP ratio is also fairly high. Now, question in your mind is, ये सब छोड़ो नीलेश भाई, just ये बताओ, कल लेने का या बेचने का, invest करे कि नहीं करे? That dilemma we all have faced, and there is only one solution to answer that dilemma, which is this. I'm sure in your college days, all of you have experimented this. She loves me not. So I'll also give you same thing. So one research suggests that whenever large caps are around 80% of total market cap and small and mid cap are less than 20% of total market cap, small and mid cap delivers good return, large cap doesn't. This was proven in 2003, 2009. The opposite is also true. When small and mid caps are 30, 35, 40% of market cap, they generally don't give good return, and large caps deliver better return. As we speak, small and mid cap is about 37% of market cap, large cap is 63%. So from here onwards, large cap should deliver better return than small and mid cap. The second research suggests that if companies deliver better profit, their share price will go higher. Now look at small cap profit growth. It will be double that of large cap. So as per this research, small cap will deliver better return and large cap will not. There is one research which suggests that in election year, markets deliver positive return because government spends money, political party spends money, and consumers receiving money from government and political parties also spends money. This year is election year, so market should do well. There is one research which suggests that leap year generally gives negative return in Indian market. This year is leap year, so markets will give negative return. One research suggests that whenever foreigners come to sell, depending upon their aggressiveness, our markets can either fall or become flat. In March 20, they were selling very aggressively, so we corrected significantly. In October 21 to May 22, they sold grudgingly. So we kind of didn't grow much, we stagnated. Now foreigners are behaving topsy-turvy. In the month of October and November, they sold. Then I booked my Christmas vacation. And then all foreigners started buying in December. Apna Christmas vacation kharab kiya, hamara bhi kharab kiya. January they again sold, February they sold, March they are buying. So effectively we don't know what foreigners will do because they are moving left, right, both. We believe foreigners will have limited quantity to sell, because our line is looking better and others' line is looking much smaller. One research suggests that whenever US cuts interest rate, emerging market equity, including India, witnesses negative return. This year, as I mentioned earlier, Fed is likely to cut rates, so our markets will fall. One research suggests that with all of you supporting us on SIP, how will market fall? The mutual funds are sitting on close to 4 lakh crore of firepower between cash, SIP flows, EPFO flows and other things. तो कितना बेचेंगे गोरे? Even if US interest rate falls, maybe this year will be different. So now all of you have reasons to believe, why will market go up? Why will market come down? Just don't ask me how markets will behave. All of you believe in this? जाको राखे साइया मार सके न कोई. ऊपर भगवान भारतीय बैठा है, इवेंचुअली भगवान बचा लेगा. अदरवाइज भगवान भरोसे, बट स्टे इन्वेस्टेड इन मार्केट. मोक्ष यही मिलेगा, निर्वाण यही मिलेगा. There are certain things in market which even God can't explain. For example, when your fiscal deficit was 4.5%, when PSU market cap was 15 lakh crore, the government proposed divestment of 65,000 crore. 5.5 to 6. PSU market cap is 50 lakh crore and the divestment proposed is just 50,000 crore. 200 रुपए पे मसगांव डॉक का IPO निकल जाता है, but 2000 रुपए पे we are not selling more. Why are we doing this? Probably God can explain. There is a company called IRFC, very good company. There is a bank called HDFC Bank, again very good bank. Both of them are very good companies. But IRFC today trades at double the valuation of HDFC Bank. They have 40 employees and 2 lakh crore market cap. Per employee market cap is 5,000 crore. इतना वैल्यूएशन तो आप लोग मोदी जी को नहीं देते. This is something which probably even God won't be able to explain. Chintan and I worked together in ICICI Prudential. I had taught him that when a company declares bad result, prices will fall. Chintan bhai yaad hai na? Today he can complain, sir, kitna jhoot sikhaya tha. BHEL is a very good PSU, long-standing PSU. But this December quarter, their salaries and wages bill for this quarter was more than the sales. Company declared losses. On that day, stock went up. Then I compared that with another company, again a good company like BHEL, Larsen and Toubro. BHEL today trades at 7 times higher PE than L&T. 7 times higher. ये स्लाइड बनाने के बाद BHEL 12% और ऊपर गया. चिंतन भाई मैंने जो सिखाया सब गलत है. You follow this. Bad results mean prices will go up. Good results mean prices will fall. And all of you are laughing कि नीलेश भाई मजाक कर रहे हैं, बट मैं सीरियसली बोलता हूँ. प्रकाश भाई, म्यूचुअल फंड में आपने जब से बेचना चालू किया, एवरेज क्या रिटर्न बना होगा? मतलब 15-17 बोलते प्रकाश भाई, मैं डिस्काउंट करता हूँ, 12% तो हुआ. चिंतन भाई 12% रीजनेबल. With that kind of return, with Chintan Bhai kind of fund managers, with Prakash Bhai kind of distributors, how many investors are there in mutual fund? 4.5 crore. Cryptos mein 18 crore Indians have traded and lost money. There are 10 crore Indians who play games hoping that they'll make money and they lose money. There are more than 2 crore Indians who have invested in Ponzi schemes. When I was kid, I used to hear Lakshmi Chand Bhagaji. आज भी गाड़ी उनकी चल रही है और उनके जैसे लोगों की चल रही है. FNO, 90% of people lose money as per SEBI data. How many people are there trading in FNO? मतलब I'm asking this stupid question in Baroda. यहाँ पे तो डब्बे में लोग ट्रेड करते हैं, FNO तो छोड़ दो. मतलब कभी कभी प्रकाश भाई लगता है कि अपन ने रिटर्न नहीं दिया होता, लोगों को नुकसान कराया होता तो 40 करोड़ इंडियन अपने पास होते हैं. ये पैसा बना के दिया तो सिर्फ 4 करोड़ इंडियन मिले. सो देयर आर फ्यू थिंग्स विच ओनली गॉड कैन एक्सप्लेन, और मे बी गॉड विल ऑल्सो से आई कांट एक्सप्लेन. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव बैंक अकाउंट इन IOB, इंडियन ओवरसीज बैंक? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, मारू भी 6. How many of you have bank account in Axis Bank? Well, it might would have been better to ask how many of you don't have account in Axis Bank. And yet, IOB trades at double the valuation of Axis Bank. जिस बैंक के कस्टमर उतने नहीं है, that trades at a premium and double the premium. In my opinion, on a serious note, there is a portion of market where you need to be careful. These are the stocks where floating stock is limited, there is concentrated holding, and little bit of buying can pull the prices and valuation higher. Now, markets can remain irrational more than you can remain solvent. So don't go and short the stocks, but be aware that there is a risk here. Current valuations are function of low floating stock. These are not open market prices, transparent market prices, and quite likely that whenever divestment supply comes into the market, these companies will not be able to trade at these valuations. Overall, No one knows where markets will go. People who claim they know where markets are going, they make money on advising you, not by trading in the market. It's been now proven multiple times. Events will happen. They'll move the market up and down. But stay invested for the longer term. This is India's Amrit Kal. This is the journey to capture. At this point of time, we'll believe small cap is like a red signal. One has to be careful while jumping the red signal. Mid cap is like amber signal. You can cross the signal, but just be careful. Large cap is like green signal. It's fair value, neither cheap nor expensive. An overall market is kind of amber, neutral equity, nor expensive nor cheap. Maintain your neutral allocation to equity as an asset class. એ પણ અગ્રી કરે છે કે નિલેશભાઈ બરાબર છે. On the fixed income side, US will start cutting rates somewhere in this year. Foreigners are investing money as India is part of debt index. This is time to go and lock the longest possible maturity. What is today available at 7, 8, 9% will tomorrow available at 6, 7, 8%. This is time to go and lock longest possible maturity of good credit instruments. You should see not only coupon income but also mark to market in most fixed income instruments. Gold, the central bankers of the world are buying gold. They are buying about 1,000 tons of gold like our housewives. ને હવે એમને બી ખબર પડી ગઈ છે. And their buying is putting gold prices on the higher side. Gold also does well when American interest rates come down, and this year that is likely to begin. The only risk of gold is 18% tax incidence in India, 15% import duty, 3% other charges. What is worth $100 in Dubai or Singapore, you pay 118 in India. This is encouraging gold smuggling. Someday government will reduce import duty on gold. At that point of time, on that day, if they reduce by 10%, your rupee gold prices will come down by 10%. Subject to that, gold is worth investing. If I have to summarize my presentation, growth globally will slow down, but India will do well. Central bankers around the world will start cutting rates. There are elections in about 40 odd countries, including India, US. So government will spend money. In fixed income, longest maturity should deliver better return over next 2 to 3 years. Gold will do well, subject to 18% import duty in India. Large caps provide better risk return than mid and small. Domestic cyclicals like auto, cement, real estate, construction should do well. And IT and chemical will provide an opportunity to invest over next 6 to 9 months. What should you do? If you had bought equity during COVID time, March 20, that means you know how to manage risk. All of you who knows how to manage risk can hold their equity portfolio at current level. Incremental money you should invest in large and mid cap stocks or fund. And most importantly, you should retain your mutual fund distributor like Prakash Bhai, because he has given you right advice. If there are people who didn't do anything in March 20, it's time to take some profit. Your risk appetite is average, nothing wrong with it. But be fair to yourself and book some profit if you are overweight equity. Incremental money, please put into large cap. Don't look at small and mid cap right now. There will be higher volatility than what you anticipate. Most importantly, change your mutual fund distributor to Prakash Bhai. He will advise you right things. He will advise you to buy in COVID time. There will be some people who would have panicked in March 20. They would have sold their portfolio, booked losses, converted notional loss into real loss. It's time for you to book profit here also. Incremental money you should invest via systematic investment plan or systematic transfer plan. And most importantly, please shift your mutual fund distributor who couldn't hold you in COVID era. One final thing, my father is no more. And if he was alive, I would have gone to him and said, "Ke Papa, when Colgate was offered at par value, when Lever was given at cheap price, when Nestle, Hext, Marion, Russell came at cheap price, if you would have bought those stocks, today there would be no need for me to work so hard, go on a Sunday afternoon to Baroda and speak to all these people. I would have been enjoying life." And my dad will say, "Beta, what you say is right. But in those days, there were no Economic Times Business Standard Mint. There were no CNBC Awaaz, Z Business, CNBC Bazaar. There were no people like Prakash Lohana જે તમને હાથ પકડીને ઇન્વેસ્ટ કરતા શીખડાવે. એટલે I missed out. And I'll probably say, "Okay, Papa, વાંધો નહીં. I will work hard and ensure that our kids don't suffer like me." Imagine 15, 20 years down the line, you are sitting and your kids come to you. What excuse you will give? You can't say there was no Economic Times. You can't say there was no CNBC Bazaar. You can't say there is no Prakash Lohana. પ્રકાશભાઈ બધું રેકોર્ડ કરી લેજો, આપણે એમના છોકરાઓને બતાવીશું. You will have no excuse to give. Think of your investment. Sorry, this slide is extra. Can we skip this slide and go to next? Think of your investment like Patek Philippe watch. It's a Swiss watch and they sell it like this. You never actually own a Patek Philippe. You merely look after it for the next generation. It is India's Amrit Kal. We will become a developed nation. And this is the journey which must be undertaken with long-term investment. Thank you.
Check one. I'm sure by the end of the session, we all have believed that there is God and God is Indian. And let's hear a big round of applause for such a fun session along with so much of information. So we are open for a Q&A round. I'm sure we all have some good participation. Let us see who wants to raise your hand and throw a few questions. Anyone?
Sir, in mutual fund investments through SIP mode and through the lump sum mode, what would be the impact, say, at the period of 10-15 years, more from the perspective, not from timing the market, but from cash flow perspectives?
સાહેબ તમારે કુંભકર્ણ સાથે કોઈ નાતો ખરો નહીં, તો there will be impact for you. Because what happens when people invest on lump sum basis, they think we are long term. And moment market drops 2-3%, that long term becomes short term. So if you are related to Kumbhkarna, you can make lump sum investment and wake up after 14 years to watch, then that's perfect. But since you mentioned you are not related to Kumbhkarna, you should prefer SIP, so that you will never be able to count what average you have made. You will convince yourself market નીચે ગઈ છે, બહુ સરસ, વધારે યુનિટ મળશે. That's how. It is mainly with the investor behavior, and which my friend Kalpen would have explained. The investor's return in mutual fund is actually half of the fund return. If we deliver 12%, investors have got only 6 or 8%. It's mainly because people panic when negative return occurs, and negative return will keep on happening. We are never going to see a linear market, which is why SIP is more appropriate.
Sir, here. હું તમને ગુજરાતીમાં ક્વેશ્ચન પૂછવા માંગીશ કે તમે કીધું કે ભગવાન ઇન્ડિયન છે, પણ એ કયા ભગવાન છે? રામ ભગવાન છે કે જે 14 વર્ષ હસીને વનવાસ એમને ઝેલ્યો, કે પછી શિવ ભગવાન છે કે જે ગુસ્સો આવે તો 1 સેકન્ડમાં આખા દુનિયાનો નાશ કરી શકે?
ભાઈ, આપણે ત્યાં 33 કરોડ દેવી દેવતા છે, એટલે સોમવારે શંકર ભગવાન આવે, મંગળવારે કૃષ્ણ ભગવાન આવે, બુધવારે રામ ભગવાન આવે, ગુરુવારે મહાવીર સ્વામી આવે, પછી આપણી ગાડી ચાલતી રહે. 33 કરોડ જણા છે, આપણે લોકોને હેરાન નથી કરતા.
થેન્ક યુ.
I think we deserve a good round. He deserves a good round of applause for the answer that he gave.
અરે, on a serious note, that was lighter vein explanation. બાકી આ બધું જે કીધું એ યાદ રાખજે ભાઈ.
Yes, do you think that the present market trend has already absorbed the 400 ke par, or it is still likely to have impact?
So in market, you should always be open for opposite view. But this is my view. Market has already discounted what is known to us. And today, up ki bar 400 par is already known to market. Now some people will believe it and they have priced in. Some have circumspect and hence they would have priced partially. And some people will say, no, this is not true, and they would have acted accordingly. When the real number comes, the crucial thing will be how many people who didn't believe earlier will get converted. Now, if 90% people believe up ki bar 400 par and only 10% believe, then the impact will be meaningless. But if only 10% believe, then the risk is that up ki bar 400 par nahi hoga. But subject to that, 90% conversion will give a much bigger jump.
Last question.
Yeah.
That Fed event which is going to come in this particular financial year, wherein the Fed rate is going to expected to cut the rate. What is your sense on the Nasdaq or a Dow Jones market, so that the people who have invested in that market through a mutual fund, can get little bit sense on that?
So there are certain peculiarities of US. One, 7 stocks have delivered majority of return for Nasdaq and S&P 500. Rest 493 out of S&P 500 are breaking even kind of thing, not great return. Now the real question is, will the American economic recovery be so good that rally becomes broad-based? If it becomes broad-based, market will take off. The experience suggests that whenever US has cut interest rate, markets have corrected after 6 months. Why did the correction happen? because market believes Fed is cutting rates, that means the economy needs support and hence we should correct. They correct and then eventually they recover. Now, if the history repeats, this year there should be a correction in US market post Fed start cutting rates. Again, dilemma. One, there is a November 24 election. Will current president, who is being questioned for his age, go into election with a weaker economy and market? In US, lot of citizens have 401k plan which gives equity exposure. You really wouldn't like to spoil your chances by going with a weak market. Second, the American savers have put $8.4 trillion in money market funds because today they are giving 4.5% or 5% return. If they decide to shift money to equity, then the fall may not occur. So again, she loves me not. One, what is Fed's communication for cutting rates? If it's not to support a weaker economy, then fall may not occur. If people shift $8 trillion or a part from money market to equity, then fall may not occur. And we have to watch out what President Biden does to win election. Maybe they'll do something so that market doesn't fall. So net, I think US market should not fall. And this time history will not be repeated.
Great, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so yes, thank you so much, gentlemen, for such wonderful interaction. And now, going further, I would like to thank Mr. Nilesh Shah, and as a token of our deep appreciation, I would like to invite CMA Mihir Vyas to come forward and present a certificate of gratitude to Mr. Nilesh Shah. Put your hands together, everyone, for both the gentlemen on the stage.